yesterday, to have now approached the Nigerian people by mobilizing them, letting them know that they had also said they were going to remove the subsidy, but this was the pattern they were going to use. If they were going to first engage the Nigerian people, it would have been different from the policy today. If they were going to adopt a different strategy that would have not created this kind of hardship, that is what the Nigerian people should be hearing now. And that is what democracy is. Democracy naturally creates position for position and opposition. Immediately a government is elected, the other party that do not have their way through the electoral ballots, either by way of the citizens' vote or by way of INEC declaration, now have a duty they owe to the Nigerian people by periodically interrogating the policies that the incumbent government will be placing, so that the incumbent government will be put on their toes, they will be held accountable to the Nigerian people, and the voices of those that cannot speak will be represented through the opposition. Unfortunately, the present president is demonstrating high level of politicking by ensuring that there is complete infraction in the two major political parties that house the Nigerian people that will listen to them. As we speak just now, Labour Party is characterized by several crises, ranging from the crisis of who is the national chairman to the crisis of how they are going to move forward. And the last days, the court tribunal has excused two of their members in the first round of the electoral cases as members elected because the processes were not duly followed. On the part of my party, People's Democratic Party, as toughest as it was during General Buhari's administration, while some voices that were dogged, rugged, and courageous to confront everything that was bad under the Buhari's administration, two of whom were one, the former governor of Ekiti State, Governor Fayose, the second is the immediate past governor of Rivers State, Governor Oseni. As we speak just now, my dear, Governor Oseni is on his way to become a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. In the same vein, Governor Fayose, former of Ekiti, is a strong ally of Governor Wike. These two critical opposition voices have now been withdrawn from a political party. It is either therefore as a matter of urgency for the opposition parties to begin to do themselves a self-appraisal, or they allow the Nigerian people to take their destiny into their hands and begin to form opposition to themselves. So therefore, Nigerians must begin to organize themselves, mobilize themselves, put themselves together, begin to look at this policy from page to page, from paper to paper, to understanding the destination that the driver is trying to take us to. If we do not do this, we will come back again after 4 years on the same page and we will cry. And I tell you, my dear, that is where we are.
All right, let's move on to the speech in itself. The president made a couple of, palliative plans. About 8 of them, are highlights of that particular speech. He talked about a new national minimum wage, which, will be reviewed and implemented once it is agreed upon and, the budget provisions are made. He talked about 125 billion naira for MSMEs. He talked about a 9% interest for SMEs and startups as well. Talked about 200 billion naira for farming, infrastructural support for states, and the one I want to look at is the loans. in itself. The president seems to be very pro-loan, loan giving at this point in time. And one of the issues that we've always faced when it comes to loans in Nigeria is repayment. So even if you're giving people an interest rate of 9% per annum within a repayment period of 36 months, what exactly can the government even do to ensure that they can actually get people to repay these loans? What do you think about some of the palliative plans that the president reeled out?
You see, my dear, about the palliative that the president had mentioned, there are two approaches I feel that the president has actually looked at the Nigerian people. The cycle analysis and the behaviorism. I feel, therefore, my dear, that at the first instance, the president should have focused on the problems that have led us to where we are. We cannot say Nigeria is a poor nation. Never. We can only say that Nigeria the resources of Nigeria has been managed by poor-minded people whose whole proper intention was to have stolen the national wealth, and they are now coming for the commonwealth. If you say you want to give loan, have you placed into record the statistical identification of the Nigerian people? How do you assess, see, what common identity do we have today as Nigerians? We don't have statistics, we don't have data that are verifiable. My dear sister, if you go to the bank today, you want to open an account, and they request from you utility bill, and you tell the account officer that you want to open an account with 300 million, the account officer will tell you not to be worried, that they will look for utility bill and cover those places for you. Should that same person come tomorrow to collect loan, how do you trace that person? In the same vein, it therefore means there are certain foundations that we must put in place than sharing money into people's hands and into people's pockets. Rather than giving people money by their hands, why don't you create incentives that compensate for monetary value? For instance, we say all civil servants, upon presentation of their ID, they have discounted rates, either in any public transport, in any grocery shop, or in whatever thing they want to do that requires financial transaction. If others are paying XYZ, that you are a public servant, you are going to benefit this. You have accommodated that concerns of the public servant. When I say the public servant, I'm talking about directly now the civil servants. And therefore, for those that are private-driven investors that run their private businesses, hire private citizens who now work for those firms, you look therefore for another means to create ease of businessing for them. For instance, if a man knows that he's not going to be spending an outrageous amount of money to either buy AGO or buy PMS to run their generator sets for the purpose of having power to carry out their business, and the stability of this power their business is running, which in turn increase their input and IGR, you have taken some burden away from this person. So government will not assume that sharing money is our problem. but investing this money in the areas that have caused us into challenges and difficulties are the thoughts that should expect a government to be nursing. If you say you want to share, have you evaluated the impact that the last sharing of the last administration created in the minds of people? The last administration, I can tell it clearly, during the COVID, when we were all seated in our houses, there was a retrenchment of money from the Abacha looted money, as it was then called. But for some of us, it's a return of our money that have been in safe custody. Those money were retrenched, and in less than 2 months, there was another proper explanation that all those money has been expended for feeding of children at home. My darling, you can't continue like that. Do we have data and statistics of these children that benefited from this money? The answers are no. It is therefore again the same country we were in during the COVID situation, where they had monies donated by several well-meaning Nigerians, the Lemenus, the Tedolas, the Dangotes, and the Genovians, and the whole lot of them that came together and donated money for the COVID situation. My darling, COVID came and gone. Our doctors not on strike today. Can you pinpoint how many of the hospitals had these infrastructural restructures? Can you tell me how many equipments, if COVID eventually returns back to Nigeria, do we have isolation centers? These things are not there. In that same vein, my dear, if the president cannot be courageous enough to confront those that are also responsible for the traders' money, social investment money, and we do not have statistics tied to people verifiable that they are beneficiaries of this amount of money. And for emphasis, my dear, you remember when they made this proposition, embarking from the same administration, the same party to the same party, but different administration. Significant number of these people of this administration say they do not believe in the data that was imputed by the last administration. It means something was wrong. Are you not aware that some way how this country, people finally went there and discovered that foods, palliatives, that were meant to cushion the effect of citizens during COVID was left to be wasted? They rather prefer them to decay and become manures while our citizens die. Is that the same route you want to take? So some of these suggestions, yes, his intention may be very right. But does he have the courage? He have the courage to prosecute those persons that have defaulted yesterday, so that those that will be sent on the errand today will know that there is punishment tied to this responsibility that you are going for. If he doesn't do that, then we have accommodated a precedent that it now becomes, I'm selecting my people to go there for the purpose of enriching themselves and let the Nigerian people continue to wallow in poverty. So that is where we are.
All right. The president had talked about one thing that actually caught my attention was agricultural support, and that is one area that Nigeria has been lacking in at this point in time because of the insecurity issues that we've been having. He talked about giving seedling, talked about approving
500 metric tons.
Yes, exactly. And then he also talked about land as well that would be given for the production of rice and maize on 150,000 hectares of land, and wheat and cassava will also get a 50 billion naira each for the cultivation over 100,000 hectares of land as well. All this is fine and good, but one area that one would have expected the president to talk about was how to secure these investments, because that has been a major issue in Nigeria. You invest in something, you build an infrastructure, or you build something that is supposed to bring money for the country, revenue generating stream, and we do not now find a way to secure that particular investment. So what exactly do you think?
You see, I said initially now that as beautiful as a proposition may be, if you run away from what the foundation is, then we are deceiving ourselves. If we invest in agriculture today, I will give our brothers farmers and sisters farmers, fathers and mothers farmers, these seedlings to go and plant. We also give them loans to go to farms. Have you first addressed the issue that has resulted to food scarcity? It is not that people were not willing to go to farm. It was just that going to the farm was no longer safe. Going to the farm was no longer safe. Why going to the farm was no longer? Insecurity. We cannot really forget all the massacres that have occurred in Benue State, Taraba, Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, and so many of the other northern parts of the country where they are predominantly farmers. If you come to some side in the south, yes, you may not have suffered so much collateral damage in terms of farming situation, but now at the time it raised its head in Edo, somewhere in other parts of the southern states, Bayelsa, but it was not then as high in number as it was in the likes of Benue and the other part of the north. But the untimely termination of one's life, one citizen of a country who has lawfully volunteered him or herself to contribute to the food basket of the country through going to the farm and farming, is a loss to the entire nation. Therefore, I feel the first step that the president would have taken was to address the security challenges. You see what has been happening in Plateau State. You have to confront this situation, because a man will give him money again, you give him these seedlings again, and he tells you you don't even have the monitoring track to know whether you go to the farm to plant these things or not. Sit in his house, or decides to work from his house, move from one street to the other after 5 kilometers into the bush, comes back outside and tell you that he has been attacked and the entire thing that is taken to the farm has been carted away from him. You couldn't say anything, because even you yourself know that you have not provided the security. So I feel therefore that our president should first address and concern himself with is the security of our nation. Guaranteeing the safety of those persons you are calling to go back to farm. Guaranteeing the safety of those persons you are calling to be workers in these farms. Also guarantee the safety of the people that will be going to buy these produce from these farmers. Because again, you can have these things in the farm, and the man that is coming to buy at your point of harvest will say for security reason he or she cannot come. And those foods, because they are commodities that deserve to be preserved properly, if they don't have such preservative facility, they begin to get bad. So work done is zero. So therefore, as much as the president has proposed that, the president should therefore address the first one that concerns that proposition, which is security and protection of lives and property.
Oh.
If he therefore can guarantee our people that, we will be happy people and will begin to move forward, until therefore the interpretation of the other things that are before the courts.
All right, Comrade Jude. Finally, on this conversation, having heard the president, one thing that I was expecting the president, a lot of Nigerians were also expecting the president to mention, was a plan to rehabilitate the refineries, because all these are well and good. If we don't fix the issue, the main problem that launched us into this economic hardship that we're facing right now, if we don't fix it, then it will continue to rear its ugly head. So how disappointed, or should I say impressed, were you when the conversation of refineries didn't come up at all in the conversation?
They are taking this thing back and forth. See, I told you, I said the subsidy regime needs to be interrogated. And I was very bold to state that from the beginning. The president mentioned imbalance, financial imbalance. I said, no, there is no financial imbalance. There is gross financial corruption and misappropriation. My dear, I can remember for several years, from 1999 up until just now, they will be telling you of turnaround maintenance. And you have not seen what these people are turning around. You have not seen what they are maintaining. But are you aware? You will be surprised, and Nigerians will be surprised to note that billions of naira are still being paid to staffers of NNPC. Of these refineries, Port Harcourt refinery, petrochemical refinery, all the refineries they have, there are staffers that are still employed and engaged in those refineries that still receive their salary every day as at when due, every month as at when due, and all their entitlements. And you ask yourself, what are they producing? What are they producing? The second aspect of it, which is equally more painful, I know too well that they say business is protective, and above it that you always go for business where you have close to natural resources. One of the gifts among many others that God has blessed Nigeria with, outside the several other mineral deposits we have around the Nigerian shores and the Nigerian states, oil is one that we have totally depended our economic revenue generation on. But again, my dear, that same part that we go to depend and run our budget circle around is a part we still neglect. Is it not embarrassing to note that refineries in Nigeria are not working? But mono refineries and refineries that are cornered refineries run by Nigerians, either through legitimate platforms, are working. Should that not be a thing of concern? It should be a thing of concern. It therefore means these are the conversations I said the president should engage with. There should be a robust conversation. People should be brought to trial. People should be exposed and people should be shamed. If you had ever gotten money for the renovation, the turnaround maintenance of our refinery, and you had failed to do that, return our money and we may forgive you the interest that we would have accrued on it to you. If you are among those persons that had collected, what do they call it, subsidy, whatever way they collect those papers, and you are expected to have made some metric tons purchased to the Nigerian people for the citizens to consume, and you sustained us. If you are exposed, return our money. We will forgive the other commission to you, but return our money, return it. So that when we don't toe this line of tolerating and accommodating people that have stolen our national wealth, our commonwealth will be saved. The commonwealth is the undue tax that you place on the citizen that goes to their day-to-day businesses from their own sweat. Somebody struggles to construct a borehole in front of his or her house, begin to want to sell water, your own borehole, government will tax you for constructing your own borehole, and government has not provided any source of water to the citizens. Somebody sets up a business center to say I want people to come there now and begin XYZ. Government have not also set up this recreational center for these people. A private individual has done it. Government will come and tax you for investing on that thing, and you now reform because you cannot collect money from government. You now increase the service charge on the citizen. This is our commonwealth. So government, President Tinubu must be courageous enough with the boldness with which he subsidy that was not part of his speech on that day, because the subsidy was not part of what was articulated for him to the Nigerian people. He had the courage because he had concluded that his anger with that name subsidy has removed it. So he should be angry with the fact that one of the greatest things that Nigerians have always been shouting on their lips is that few people, he used that language yesterday, he said few people have stolen the Nigerian wealth into private pockets. But I did not hear him say he's going to fight the corrupt people. Let him fight those people. He will then enjoy the Nigerian people's support. I know it's going to be resisting for him when he wants to fight them, but let him be rest assured that if he's confronting them in the manner at which he will confront them, the Nigerian people will support him. So the refineries must have to work. Our mono refineries, must look for ways to accommodate them into the system. Those people that have gone into private refineries illegitimately, you can have a complete conversation with them and ask them how they are able to do it. Then you legitimize it for them. See, let me tell you, Nigeria. You remember at some time in Nigeria, it was an offense for you to carry tinted cars about. When it was an offense for people to drive a tinted car, that was when you had defaulters. A whole lot of people wanted to use tinted cars. Some will go and put the tint themselves, so that they didn't come with the cars manufactured tint. They will infuse it on their car themselves, right? But immediately they sat and they made it a law that if you want to put tinted car, come to our office, apply for it, and you'll be given approval. I'm not sure you are paying anything, or you pay more than nothing. You have this tinted permit. But there are people who remove the one they have in their cars on their own. Because at that time, they didn't mean anything to them. So if you now legitimate these things that these people are doing through a proper conversation and engaging them, and we need why every remittance that should come to government will come to government, and what remittance will be used for public development and economic advancement of the nation, then the commonwealth of citizens will be preserved. So we must be courageous to take those steps. If the president had the courage to remove subsidy on May 29, please, you should have the courage to go headlong before those persons that have defrauded the Nigerian state through subsidy, through social reinvestment program, particularly that Ministry of Humanitarian Service. And every person that have found themselves in one way or the other implicated in any corrupt charges, they should come and answer to the law. If they are guilty, the law should know how to temper justice with mercy. If you are tempering justice with mercy for them to refund our money, let them refund it. If you are tempering justice without mercy that they refund the money and they still serve the jail term that is accrued to it, they should serve it. That will serve as deterrent to people that are coming. Now, have you seen the way some of these people come to Senate for screening? They don't come as if they are coming to apply for job.
Exactly.
But see, we must be very serious now. We must be serious. See, if you are going for employment, you know you are going to meet your interviewer today. The recruiter has invited you to come for interview. Let us be honest. You look for the best of outfit that is official enough, accepted in corporate environment. You dress in a manner that you want to be addressed. And when you are seated there, you sit before the panel with all level of seriousness. Because you want to prove to the panel that you are one of the best among other persons that have applied for the job, and the differences you want to bring is that you have identified the gap in those establishments, and you have the solutions to cover those gaps. By then, we still have a long way to go.
All right. Now that we've moved on to the ministerial screening, right? What exactly do you think about the process? Because the two names that have been the most mentioned in this ministerial screening, one is Wike. He didn't spend up to how many minutes in the house before he was asked to take a bow and leave the screening process. Not a lot of questions were even asked to him because of the fact that he's been a governor, he's been a minister of state as well. So there's no need. We already know his antecedents. Not knowing that you have to actually, some of these individuals are the ones that you actually have to scrutinize properly. And then Rufai as well. When the issue of Kaduna insecurity was raised, Godswill Akpabio, the Senate president as well, asked that, no question should be. He stopped Rufai from addressing strong petitions on the whole issue of Kaduna insecurity. So what exactly do you think about the process? This is in closing.
Now, you see, one of the things I had expected the president to do different was first to have tied the names of the ministerial nominees, the ministry they were going to be, the portfolio they were going to be saddled with. That means the ministry were going to be headed to their names. That again would have saved the Senate all the stress of all the questions they were throwing. You see, because appointing ministers constitutionally is the prerogative of the president. Ours as citizens is just to suggest. And their appearing is one of the democratic rituals. Yeah, because the law says they must be screened and the president must nominate. And the president must only just now nominate those persons that he knows will share the same vision and mission that he holds for the Nigerian people. But be that as it may, you mentioned that of General Wike, former governor of Rivers State. I will say in all sense of honesty, it's not that because he's a member of my political party, as at yesterday, I do not know if there are changes that have effected. As a minister, we serve in the same cabinet. I was an aide to President Jonathan then on Youth and Students Matter. I was there for the time he supervised the ministry and the time he acted, he functioned as Minister of State. He delivered in the responsibility that were placed on his shoulder. And yesterday, he narrated that to the Senate. As a governor, every Nigerian can attest to the fact that he distinguished himself among his other colleagues governors through service delivery and performance. Now the question the Senate president asked him yesterday was, I would have ordinarily asked you to take a bow, but can you tell us about yourself, what you have achieved and what you want to bring to the government? He was able to sell himself. After selling himself, there was therefore no need for anybody to ask him any question. Just like the lady from Delta State today, Stella Okotete. During her presentation, I got freezed. I was actually carrying out a research work, and I turned and I heard the voice. I said, I want to know the person. And by the time she finished reading her CVs, explaining the achievements she had recorded and the solutions she had provided in sectors that she had been saddled with such responsibility, the ideas she had suggested, the policies she had driven, and the futuristic benefit of those policies to the immediate environment and the society at large. I said, these are the kind of people that we need. If you tell that kind of lady to take a bow and go and you confirm her immediately, I do not think the honest Nigerians will be angry. But there are certain persons, for me, I do not want to mention names, that even seeing them on the podium, you know that they do not have confidence in themselves. For the materials they have submitted to the first introduction they have made to themselves, they also sold themselves out. But it would have been easier for us to question the Senate if these people had come alongside with a ministerial portfolio. you say Gesiri is standing on the podium, she is being screened as Minister for Communication or Minister of Information. They will begin to interrogate you within that scope.
Okay.
So you will not have somebody come to the podium with a degree in microbiology and asking the person question about reforms in the bank. Because it's only in Nigeria that you, like the last Minister of Education that had no business with the Ministry of Education, was made the Senior Minister of Education. I remember a professor was his Minister of State. So you had our medical doctor as Minister of Labour and Productivity. Then you had our minister, our SAN, S-A-N, Fashola, as Minister of Works and Housing. So you now see that these things, so that is the reason why they don't even attach this portfolio to their names. So that when they finish, they now need to go to me, and when the tea fall, they put it on you and say that is where you have been posted to.
All right.
So the Senate can be exonerated for the fact that the ritual, but it would have been more engaging, more robust if they are coming with a particular portfolio. And so if I'm seated on the Senate chamber as a senator, you are appearing before the Senate, and I see that you are coming to become the Minister for Education, the Minister for Youth, the Minister for Transport, Minister for Aviation. I should have been able to prepare myself all through the night. The challenges we have in each of these sector, ministry, agencies, and departments. So that when any of these nominees stands on that podium, you begin to look at the jottings you have made and ask them questions in line with the ministries they are coming from. But we are still back to the old order.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Judy Magwe, for this conversation. In wrapping up, what exactly do you have to say to the president? Because this issue that you just raised is one that is very, very important. If we had the portfolio, the ministry, the proposed ministry that, that person would have, that's the job they were going for, they were applying for. If we had that information, maybe it would have been easier for the Senate to go ahead and, run their duties as Senate as well. So in wrapping up, what exactly do you have to say to Nigerians, to the president as well?
But for me, what I would tell Nigerians is we should not give up on our country. We should understand the fact that the first identity we have are the fact that we are citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it therefore means, as it stands, we must hold into account all those persons we have elected. From local government to the presidency. We must also reduce our much attention on the presidency and begin to interrogate the activities of our local councils and our state governors. Because we abandon all these areas and focus on the presidency, and the states, they are being run recklessly with every impunity, and that clashes on the local government. So I appeal to citizens to begin to mobilize themselves and organize themselves to follow every money that because our national wealth is exhausted, now that they want to begin to depend on our commonwealth. Every of our commonwealth that they want to spend, we should follow it. When we begin to yield dividend that will return us back to our national wealth, our commonwealth will then be saved for us. Then for the president, I'm expecting that with all things that were tied to him as a man that turned Lagos to what Lagos is, however, Lagos is not Nigeria, so Nigeria is way bigger than Lagos. He must also understand that the need for policy suggestions and the lifespan of a policy is to the